Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa, Bhagavad-Acharya, Ashtottara Sri Srimad, Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Bhagavad-Acharya, Ashtottara Sri Srimad, Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Now this was kind of moved, so do you know the verse? Is it 36, 37, or 35? 35? Okay. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 9th day of September 2024 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sit here. Okay. We're reading today from the 11th chapter, the Universal Form, page 482, text 35. Okay, text 35. Sanjaya uvacha etat shrutva vachanam keshavasya kvatanjalir vepamanah kariti namaskritva bhuya evaha Krishnam Sagadgadam Bita Bita Pranamya. Okay. Sanjaya uvacha etachutva vachanam keshavasya kvatanjali vepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya evaha Krishnam sagadgadam bita bita pranamya. Sanjaya uvacha etachutva vachanam keshavasya kvatanjali vepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya evaha Krishnam sagadgadam bhita bhita pranamya. Sanjaya uvacha etachutva vachanam keshavasya kvatanjali vepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya evaha Krishnam sagadgadam bhita bhita pranamya. Go ahead. Sanjaya uvacha etachutva vachanam keshavasya kvatanjali vepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya evaha Krishnam sagadgadam bhita bhita pranamya. Etachutva vachanam keshavasya kvatanjali vepamana kiriti namaskritva bhuya evaha Krishnam sagadgadam bhita bhita pranamya. All right. Sanjaya uvacha, Sanjaya said, etat thus shrutva, hearing, vachanam, the speech, keshavasya, of Krishna, krita anjali, with folded hands, vepamanaha, trembling, kariti, Arjuna, namaskritva, offering obeisances, bhuya, again, eva, also, aha, said, Krishnam, unto Krishna, sagadgadam, with a faltering voice, bita bitaha, fearful, pranamya, offering obeisances. Well, it's gotten pretty cold in here pretty fast, so especially sitting on the floor, all the cold air sinks down. resume now. Translation. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, "O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows." Purport. As we have already explained, because of the situation created by the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna became bewildered in wonder. Thus he began to offer his respectful obeisances to Krishna again and again, and with faltering voice he began to pray, not as a friend, but as a devotee in wonder. Text 36. Arjuna Vacha Stane Rishikesha Tava Pakirtya Jagat Parishyat Anurajyate Cha Rakshansi Bhitani Indisho Dravanti Sarve Samatsyanti Cha Siddha Sangha. Page 483. Translation. Arjuna said, "O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done." Purport. Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna about the outcome of the battle of Kurukshetra, became enlightened, and as a great devotee and friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said that everything done by Krishna is quite fit, or I think it's been changed, quite fitting. Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and the object of worship for the devotees and the destroyer of the undesirables. His actions are equally good for all. Arjuna understood herein that when the battle of Kurukshetra was being concluded, in outer space there were present many demigods, siddhas, and the intelligentsia of the higher planets, and they were observing the fight because Krishna was present there. When Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, the demigods took pleasure in it, but others who were demons and atheists could not stand it when the Lord was praised. Out of their natural fear of the devastating form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they fled. Krishna's treatment of the devotees and the atheists is praised by Arjuna. In all cases, a devotee glorifies the Lord because he knows that whatever he does is good for all. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So, Arjuna is saying how the holy name, when the world hears your name, everyone becomes attached to you and everyone becomes joyful. Of course, that means the devotees, those who are pious, those who are devotees of the Lord, they become joyful when Krishna is glorified, when he's served. And they want to not only do it themselves, but try to spread the service of the Lord. That's what the whole Sankirtan movement is about. But of course the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. So this is the nature of Krishna's advent. He polarizes everyone. It's like either you're with him or they're against him. And as he says in the 4th chapter, Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyudanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham. That whenever and wherever there is an upsurge of irreligion, glani, dharmasya glani, of discrepancies in religion, and adharma becomes prevalent. And of course the adharmis also become prevalent, those who are spreading adharma, who are enemies of real religion, the demons, the asuras. So he comes in order to protect the devotees, to reestablish dharma, and to eliminate the sinful. Now that's very important because all of these soldiers have gathered on the plain of Kurukshetra, and one side is in the service of evil, Duryodhana. I was just reading Krishna book, how in the Rajasuya sacrifice, it's really amazing, you know. Yudhishthira was the king. He was in Indraprastha, and Duryodhana and his brothers were all stewing a little ways away in Hastinapur. There's a difference between Indraprastha and Hastinapur. But Yudhishthira, he was recognized as the king, and he sent his brothers out everywhere to conquer. You know, the Rajasuya means that you go and you confront the different kings, and if they pay tribute and recognize, then that's fine. But if not, then there's a battle. You know, and then when everybody is subdued, then you can do the Rajasuya sacrifice. So of course, who wasn't subdued? Jarasandha, right? He was the one who attacked Mathura 17 times, and the 18th time he was joined by Kaliyavana, you remember, with millions of soldiers. And so Krishna thought it best to evacuate Mathura to Dwarka, and he had the, I forget who it was it Vivitsvan? Build a city in the sea. And it was a fabulous city, and everyone went there. And then he quickly, you know, he dispatched Kaliyavana by a trick. He led him up into the mountains. He ran off the battlefield. He's known as the Ranchora. So Kaliyavana was chasing him, but he couldn't quite get him, and he went all the way up into the cave. And in the cave he saw someone sleeping. He thought Krishna was taking a rest, so he kicked him. And who got up? Who remembers what his name was? Muchukunda. Muchukunda had been fighting with the demigods for a long time. He was a very pious king. But in doing that in the heavenly planets, you know, the time difference, I mean, there was nowhere to go back to. You know, I mean, all of his kingdom and everything, everyone had died already. So they said, well, what do you want? All right, I'd hope to go home, but that's not going to work, so just let me sleep. He just wanted to sleep, you know, he's so tired, you know. And let me have a benediction. If someone wakes me untimely, then I can burn him to ashes. So the foolish Kaliyavana, he saw the figure sleeping in the dim light of the cave, and he thought that was Krishna, so he kicks him. And Muchukunda awakes, and he looks at him, he burns him to ashes. That's the end of Kaliyavana. And then Krishna came out from the side, and he offered his homage and prayers, wonderful prayers to Krishna. So, but meanwhile, Jarasandha is still alive. He's still around, and he thought that Krishna, I think, how did it work? Where Krishna also was running and with Balaram, and they went up this mountain, this Pravarshana mountain. I always get a kick of that, reading it when they were a little tired, so they ran up the mountain. And Jarasandha went up, and I'll tell you, I don't know if any of you are old enough, there was a movie, I saw this before I even joined, called Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Have you ever heard of that? You know. And they run up a mountain. They're escaping from this posse, you know, they're kind of thieves. And the posse goes up the mountain, and they can't find them, so they start fires to smoke them out, you know. And they jump off the mountain into a river. So this is just like the Bhagavatam. But Krishna and Balaram jumped off the mountain, they go into the river, and then they go back to Dwarka. Anyway, it's quite exciting. But the point is that Jarasandha has still got an army left, you know. And eventually he finds out Krishna hasn't been killed. So they have to kill Jarasandha. He's the last unsubmissive king. So Uddhava advised them, well, he's very pious in one sense, and he'll always honor the Brahmins. So you go, you know, dressed up as Brahmins, and he'll let you in. So they did that, and he offered them anything you want, you know. So they said, well, we just want to have a fight with you, you know. So they said, okay, but it's Krishna. He's a coward. He ran away from the battlefield, and Arjun, he's not big enough for me. But this Bhima, he looks about my size, you know. So they went on for 27 days. And finally Bhima said to Krishna, I can't I can't conquer him. He's just as strong as I am, and he's just as skillful with the club, you know. So Krishna revealed to him that he had been put together by two halves. That's what Jarasandha means. Jara, the witch, had put the two sandhas, two halves together. He was born in two halves, and somehow she put... So he said that this is the way you can, by ripping him apart. So that was the end of Jarasan, and the Rajasuya sacrifice could go on. So everything was great. Yudhishthira performed it. Krishna was worshipped first. Shishupal was killed. You know, he was incorrigible. But Duryodhana became very envious. You know, he was incensed by all the opulence. He was in charge of cataloging all the gifts that were coming in, so you can imagine how. But you know what his duty was? To bathe everyone's feet. Krishna's bathing everyone's feet. Anyway, it's wonderful. Is Krishna Leela there, and eventually, of course, Duryodhana. They performed the Rajasuya sacrifice, and there was this wonderful palace built for Yudhishthira by Maya, the demon, because he was saved. Agni was devouring the forest, and Maya was in there, and they saved this demon. So, in reciprocation, he built a wonderful building for the Pandavas in Indraprastha. But it was very tricky. You know, if you go inside, it looks like a solid floor, but it's actually a big pool, and so Duryodhana, he fell in. And Krishna was there with all his queens, because he was still hanging out with Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira didn't want to let him go back. So he stayed. And they all laughed, you know, they were all laughing at Duryodhana, who had gotten soaked. And Yudhishthira was trying to stop them, because, oh no, really, Krishna said, that's okay, you know, let him laugh, you know, because he wanted to ignite the... So Duryodhana became more envious, and eventually they had the cheating assembly, you know, where they had Sakuni, and they would lose. You know, Yudhishthira, because he's so dharmic, he's the son of Dharmaraj, Yamaraj. So if a Kshatriya is challenged to a gambling match, he has to play, even if he knows that they're cheating. So anyway, so he lost everything, including Draupadi, and they tried to disrobe her. Krishna appeared as the clothes. He couldn't do that. But finally they exiled him. Was it 14 years or something like that? Or that was wrong. Was it 12 years? 12 years. So they lost everything. The kingdom is gone. And then Duryodhana moves in. You know, then eventually after the 12 years, the battle took place. But this was before that. Yudhishthira was acting as the king. He was the rightful, you know, but it wasn't to be. So anyway, now there's a little anomaly in this purport. When the Battle of Kurukshetra was being concluded, it hadn't begun yet, I guess, you know. So Arjuna foresaw, you know, that everyone would be destroyed. Arjuna understood here that when the battle of Kurukshetra would be concluded, in outer space there would be present many demigods, siddhas, and intelligent of the higher planets, and they would observe the fight because Krishna was present there. Anyway, so Arjuna, these prayers, and just text 38, which is coming up, we'll reach that verse. That's one of the first verses I ever memorized. It always sticks in my head. When I come in this verse, I see myself back in Brooklyn about 50 years ago, walking back from the subway, chanting this verse, because the subway was nearby. You know, you get out of the subway, you walk a couple of blocks, you're at the temple. From Adideva Purushak Purana Samasya Vishwasya. It's a very nice verse. Okay, so let's go on. Kasmachate nanameran mahatman gariyase brahmanopyadi kartre Ananta Devesh Nivasa Tamakshadam Sarasattat Parangyat. O Great One, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O Limitless One, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. Purport. By this offering of obeisances, Arjuna indicates that Krishna is worshipable by everyone. He is all-pervading, and he is the soul of every soul. Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Mahatma, which means that he is most magnanimous and unlimited. Ananta indicates that there is nothing which is not covered by the influence and energy of the Supreme Lord. And Devesha means that he is the controller of all demigods and is above them all. He is the shelter of the whole universe. Arjuna also thought that it was fitting that all the perfect living entities and powerful demigods offer their respectful obeisances unto him, because no one is greater than him. Arjuna especially mentions that Krishna is greater than Brahma, because Brahma is created by him. Brahma is born out of the lotus stem grown from the navel in the abdomen of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who is Krishna's plenary expansion. Therefore, Brahma and Lord Shiva, who is born of Brahma, and all other demigods must offer their respectful obeisances. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that the Lord is respected by Lord Shiva and Brahma and similar other demigods. The word Aksharam is very significant because this material creation is subject to destruction. But the Lord is above this material creation. He is the cause of all causes, and being so, he is superior to all the conditioned souls within this material nature, as well as the material cosmic manifestation itself. He is therefore the all-great supreme. So this is a wonderful set of prayers by Arjuna. But you see, he's lost now the sense of friendship with Krishna. It's all in reverence. In fact, he's kind of a little afraid. And I think later on he'll express that he apologizes for being intimate later on, how I was joking with you, lying on the same bed, please forgive me, like that. So it says in the fourth chapter of the Adi Leela is very important, and coming up on Radhashtami. And it's the best whole explanation of who Radha is in relationship. I recommend it. And there it said, Krishna's, he comes, and he says, because the prelude to Lord Chaitanya's appearance was Krishna's appearance, you see, back 5,000 years ago. So Krishna, he says, I'm going to, he's up in, he comes down in order to renew the memory of his delightful Leela. It's a blessing when he comes every day of Brahma, which is more than 8 trillion years. Is it 8 billion? 8 billion, 640 million years. That's the day of Brahma. But just see how incredibly fortunate we are. I mean, what's 5,000 years compared to 8 billion, 640 million? It's just like yesterday. And Krishna was there, Vrindavan is there, you can see where he acted. And then he comes even more recently, just 540 years or whatever it is, as Lord Chaitanya. And the whole point is, well, he says what he does in the fourth chapter, in order to annihilate the demons and revive Dharma and protect the devotees. But he says at the end of the rasa dance, he says another more intimate reason why he appears. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusam dehamastitaha bhadate tadrashi krida yashutva totparo bhavet. Out of my mercy for the devotees, anugrahaya bhaktanam, I appear in my original human form, manusam dehamastitaha, and I enact these pastimes, which are replicas of what's going on in the spiritual world, so that when the devotees hear about them, they'll become attracted to me. In other words, he renews the memory of his Leela by enacting them right on this earthly planet. And it's recorded, mostly in Bhagavatam and books that follow the Bhagavatam. Like our great acharyas, the 6 Goswamis, and their followers, they, in their own trance and realization, they expand on the details of those same Leela that Krishna enacted. The loving affairs with the gopis, his wonderful, exuberant pastimes with his friends, his intimate, pastime with his mother and father and other elders, and of course all of the servants in Vaikuntha, all of that's going on. So that's we're very blessed, and that we've been given these pastimes and these descriptions in great detail by Srila Prabhupada and his followers. So that's what's happening here. And now this mood, Arjun will eventually request Krishna from the bottom of his heart, please give it up. I want to see your human form again. But now these very nice prayers are going on. And now here it comes, text 38. Tramadi devak purushak puranas Tvamasya vishwasya padang nidhanam Vetasi vejam cha padang cha dhama Tvayatatam vishwamananta rupa. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. Okay. Purport. Everything is resting on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, He is the ultimate rest. Nidhanam means that everything, even the Brahman effulgence, rests on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the knower of everything that is happening in this world, and if knowledge has any end, He is the end of all knowledge. Therefore, He is the known and the knowable. He is the object of knowledge because He is all-pervading. Because He is the cause in the spiritual world, He is transcendental. He is also the chief personality in the transcendental world. So these are all very much awe and reverence prayers, you know. And I think it was this verse. No, it was text 40, a couple of verses later. I got involved with the Ramakrishna mission back in 72, mostly, I think it was. And I would go there. They have a very nice facility in Upper Manhattan, on the east side. The east side of Manhattan, Upper Manhattan, is where all the rich people live. And it was quite opulent, multi-stories, and everything was very nice. They had a big auditorium, and they had seats like you find in a movie theater, you know, very comfortable. And he would sit, and the fellow who's in charge, he would stand on the stage behind a podium. It wasn't like he was on a Vyasasana or anything, he was on a podium, and he would give lectures on Gita. And I was attracted, you know, it was pretty learned. And I remember, it's text 40, Sarvam Samapnoshi, you are everything. Because ultimately they're impersonalists, you see. Ramakrishna, he says Yatama Tatabad. So there's a branch that's also Bhakti. They have some Bhakti books, but mostly it's all Shankaracharya and things like that. So he really liked this verse. He would chant it before every class, no matter what verse he's going to give. Namak Parastad. We'll get it in a little. And it's the whole thing is you are everything. You are everything. You know, you are Brahman effulgence. You know, like that. Getting away from the localized, individual aspect of the Lord. You know. Eventually I gave that up, thank God. It was close. I had there was a translation of the Sharirika Bhashya. Sharirika Bhashya is Shankaracharya's commentary on the Brahma Sutra. Translated by Nikalananda, who Prabhupada met. He was in charge before I got there, a few years earlier, in 67, no, probably 66 maybe, Prabhupada met him. But when I met him, he had already had a stroke, and so he would be up there. We would all gather around a dinner table on Sunday afternoon. But his replacement had come from India, young man, maybe 40, 45 years old, and I was told, he had meditated in the Himalayas and everything, you know. So sure enough, he was able to tell me what my job was and where I worked before I told him. So I was, you know, they would do things like that to really impress you and say, oh, man, this is really what I'm looking for. But luckily I met the devotees, and I never read that Sharirika Bhashya. I never read the book. I threw it away. Lord Chaitanya says, Maya Bhade Bhashe Shundale Hoy Sarvanash. That if you hear, anyone who hears that Sharirika Bhashya, which is an impersonal commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, he's finished. His bhakti is finished, you know. Krishna protected me. I had the book, but I never read it. Hare Krishna. All right, text 39. Vayu yamogne barunakshasanka. Prajapatis tvam prapitamahascha. Namo namaste tu sahasra kritva. Punashta bhuyo pinamo namaste. You are air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great-grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, again and yet again. Purport. The Lord is addressed here as air because the air is the most important representation of all the demigods, being all-pervasive. Arjuna also addresses Krishna as the great-grandfather because he is the father of Brahma, the first living creature in the universe. Okay, here it is. Namak porastat ataprishthataste. Namostate sarvata eva sarva. Ananta viryamita vikramastvam. Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Purport. Out of loving ecstasy for Krishna, his friend, Arjuna is offering his respects from all sides. He is accepting that Krishna, is the master of all potencies and all prowess, and far superior to all the great warriors assembled on the battlefield. It is said in the Vishnu Purana, 1969, Yoyam tabhagato deva samipang devataganaha sattvam eva jagat srashta yatak sarvagato bhavan. Whoever comes before you, even if he be a demigod, is created by you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. So clearly Arjuna is in an ecstasy here, offering obeisances again and again. And this sarvam samapna, you are everything. So this was taken as an impersonal indication by my yogi teacher there. He said, oh, you are everything, therefore everything is God, everything, is Brahmajyoti. So now Arjuna wants to apologize because this is this great God that he's lied on the same bed and he's joking and so this is now he starts to apologize. Saketi matpa pasabam yaduktam. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam. Maya pramadat pranayena vapi. Yakchavaha sartamasatkritosi. Vihadashayasana bodhaneshu. Ekotavapyachyutat samaksham. Tatshamahe tvamahamaprameyam. I think it's Krishna's arrangement that there's only a handful of us here, because I can imagine if we had a full house and everyone trying to chant these verses. Anyway, you're doing a good job. Thinking of you as my friend, think of you as a friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Purport. Although Krishna is manifested before Arjuna in his universal form, Arjuna remembers his friendly relationship with Krishna and is therefore asking pardon and requesting Krishna to excuse him for the many informal gestures which arise out of friendship. Arjuna is admitting that formerly he did not know that Krishna could assume such a universal form, although Krishna explained it as his intimate friend. Arjuna did not know how many times he may have dishonored Krishna by addressing him, "Oh my friend, oh Krishna, oh Yadava," etc., without acknowledging his opulence. But Krishna is so kind and merciful that in spite of such opulence, he played with Arjuna as a friend. Such is the transcendental loving reciprocation between the devotee and the Lord. The relationship between the living entity and Krishna is fixed eternally. It cannot be forgotten, as we can see from the behavior of Arjuna. Although Arjuna has seen the opulence in the universal form, he cannot forget his friendly relationship with Krishna. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. So this is an important philosophical point, is that in order to begin devotional service, we need to recognize that Krishna is very great, that he is all-powerful, that we are his eternal servants, and that we have forgotten that, and we've been foolishly trying to compete with him and suffering many, many births like that. There's some basic philosophy is there. But what bhakti does is it may start at that point, but really you're meant to eventually be reinstated into your natural relationship with God, with Krishna. Now, it may be one of service, you see. But actually, anyone who gets drawn into the Gaudiya Vaishnav field, which is what this is really aiming at something more intimate than simple service, especially, or even just awe and reverence, which is like Shantaras. Shantaras is characterized by two things. One is always thinking of God, of Krishna, and is not at all interested in material sense gratification. You're simply satisfied just being aware of God. It's almost like a meditative thing. You see, there's no active service. Sometimes Krishna may use you in service, but you yourself are not actively. Like the flute is said to be in Shantaras. It just lies there, doesn't do anything, and then Krishna picks up and plays. You know. Now the gopis get envious of the flute because the flute is always being embraced by the hands of Krishna and kissed by his lips. How did you get that? Is the whole thing? What kind of pious activity did you perform that you took birth in such a way, and now you're able to get and drink the lips of Krishna? The nectar of Krishna's lips, which really belongs to us. And you're drinking it all the time. So that's part of the rasa. It's very sweet. It's right there in the Anchal Leela, chapter 1. So Arjuna now, because he's seen the glory and the power, he's kind of apologizing. It's not really the most pleasing mood to Krishna, and he will return to his more intimate form in a few verses. But this is what Arjuna wanted to see. He wanted to see that all-powerful, splendiferous form with unlimited heads and all throughout the universe. So that's what he got to see. And most importantly, he saw, and he spoke to him, that everyone on this battlefield, whether you fight or not, is going to die, except for you, your brothers and a few others on your side. That's my plan, because remember, vinashaya dushkritam. So the earth is now burdened by too many dushkritam, too much demons. So this is part of Krishna's plan to eliminate them. But they're all blessed because they all die in Krishna's presence and they go, to higher. There's some difference among the acharyas of just where they all went, whether they all went back to Godhead or they went to a higher destination, But nobody goes down to the animal platform, having been killed on its battlefield. So that's one of Krishna's arguments to Arjuna, is that at the beginning, what's the problem? Nobody's dying here, and this is they're all going to be exalted. I mean, Bhishma Dev is Mahajan, and then when he actually dies, there's a whole chapter there in the first canto. He's lying on the bed of arrows, but he has his blessing. He doesn't have to die. And beautiful prayers to Krishna, So what's inauspicious? He's leaving the old body, but he's going back to Godhead. Anyway, that's part of the point that Arjuna will see that his real duty is to do what Krishna wants and to get over this bodily concept of life and all of that. That's now negative because of Krishna's presence on the battlefield. It's all under his aegis, his supervision. And everybody is benefited by it, even though those who would get killed, they also benefit. Okay, text 43, right? Yeah. Vitasi lokasya characharasya Tvamasya pujas chaguru gariyan Natvatsamosya vyadika kutonyo Lokatrayepya pratima prabhava. Okay, so this has a little longer purport. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is worshipable as a father is worshipable for his son. He is the spiritual master because he originally gave the Vedic instructions to Brahma, and presently he is also instructing the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Therefore, he is the original spiritual master, and any bona fide spiritual master at the present moment must be a descendant in the line of disciplic succession stemming from Krishna. Without being a representative of Krishna, one cannot become a teacher or spiritual master of transcendental subject matter. The Lord is being paid obeisances in all respects. He is of immeasurable greatness. No one can be greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, because no one is equal or higher than Krishna within any manifestation, spiritual or material. Everyone is below him. No one can excel him. This is stated in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, tatat samasyam jadikascha drishyate. The Supreme Lord, Krishna, has senses and a body like the ordinary man, but for him there is no difference between his senses, his body, his mind, and he himself. Foolish persons who do not perfectly know him say that Krishna is different from his soul, mind, heart, and everything else. Krishna is absolute, therefore his activities and potencies are supreme. It is also stated that although he does not have senses like ours, he can perform all sensory activities. Therefore his senses are neither imperfect nor limited. No one can be greater than him, no one can be equal to him, and everyone is lower than him. The knowledge, strength, and activities of the Supreme Personality are all transcendental, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Janma karma cha me divyam. Come on, you can do this one. Janma karma cha me divyam. Evam yo vedi tatpataha. Chakpadeham punar janma. Naiti mam eti sorjuna. Whoever knows in truth Krishna's transcendental body, activities, and perfection, after quitting his body, returns to him and doesn't come back again to this miserable world. Therefore, one should know that Krishna's activities are different from others. The best policy is to follow the principles of Krishna. That will make one perfect. It is also stated that there is no one who is master of Krishna. Everyone is his servant. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 5, 142, confirms Ekale Ishwara Krishna ar sababhritya. Only Krishna is God, and everyone else is his servant. Everyone is complying with his order. There is no one who can deny his order. Everyone is acting according to his direction, being under his superintendence. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, he is the cause of all causes. So everyone is obeying his order, but not willingly, oftentimes. Forced by the laws of nature. But the point of bhakti is to come to the point of willingly, joyfully doing what Krishna's will, attuning our activities to what pleases him. How do we know what pleases him? From the Shastra, from the gurus, Shiksha gurus, Diksha gurus. And that's why it said, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, that if you get the mercy from the Guru, then you will also get the favor of the Lord. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasad. Yasya prasadat nagadikatopi. We often forget that long A, and it makes all the difference. It's the difference between successful and unsuccessful. That un is a very important part of the word. So, by his grace, one can get the grace of Krishna. But without the mercy of the spiritual master, one has no means of advancement. That's the idea. Because the bona fide spiritual master, he's a very dear servant of the Lord, and he knows just what Krishna wants. And so he wants us to study the Bhagavad Gita. So we're doing the right thing. He is the cause of all causes. So now he's asking again for forgiveness. Hare Krishna. Tasmat pranamya pranidaya kayam. Page 490 of the book. Why don't you take a book? Go ahead, take one. Yeah. Page 490. Tasmat pranamya pranidaya kayam. Pasadiye tvam aham isham idyam. Piteva putrasya sakeva sakyu. Priyak priyayar hasideva shodham. You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. Purport. Krishna's devotees relate to Krishna in various relationships. One might treat Krishna as a son, or one might treat Krishna as a husband, as a friend, or as a master. Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna are related in friendship. As the father tolerates, or the husband or a master tolerates, so Krishna tolerates. Just a little editing pastime, since I remember things. We had for a long time at the end here, not the husband tolerating the familiarity of his wife, but, or as a wife, tolerates the familiarity of the husband. That means Krishna is in the position of the wife? I said, that doesn't sound right. So I checked it and we got it right now. It's been right for about 10, 15 years. So, so Arjuna is, he's clearly, out of his mood of friendship. He's in awe and reverence and a little scared. This is a huge universal form, So then he's going to ask him in a few verses to please resume your other form. But here, he's very much aware of the intimacies that he enjoyed in Krishna's company. And he's right in that it doesn't really compute with the universal form, But the idea is that this isn't really Krishna's real form, this universal form. Krishna's actual form is Shyamasundar. That's his original form. But Arjuna asked to see this, so now he's seeing it. Now he's a little sorry maybe at a certain point. But it's important. And what's really incredible that in a few verses, I don't think we'll get to it tonight, probably tomorrow. The last verse of the chapter, mat karma krin mat padamo mat sangha mat karma krin mat padamo mat sangha sangha bhajitaha. 54. Here it is. 55. Mad bhakta sangha bhajitaha nirvaira savabhuteshu yaksamam iti pandava. So, right near the beginning of this purport, therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, when I first read that 50 years ago, I immediately memorized the verse. But after all of this, universal form and the glory and the fear and everything, we come upon the verse that is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So it makes the whole chapter even more wonderful. Okay, so various relationships. Yeah, Krishna tolerates. He tolerates so much from his servants. All right, so it's getting late. We'll probably be able to conclude this chapter tomorrow before, maybe not. The purpose get pretty long. But just as a little poem at the end, So this okay, this is a nice one from the Krishna Karnamrita, which I was reading today. Krishna Karnamrita, the very name says a lot, you know. He says, but imagine writing a book which is entitled "Nectar for Krishna's Ears." Well, that's pretty bold, thinking that Krishna is going to like my book so much, you know. But Bilvamangal, he couldn't see physically, but he's seeing Krishna in his spiritual eyes, face to face. So he knows how Krishna is reacting to every verse, so he can give it that name. It's very nice. So near the end of the Krishna Karnamrita, we have this verse: Jaya 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 Deva 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 Chubhavana Mangala Divya Nama Deha Jaya 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 Deva Krishna Deva Shavana Manonaya Nama Tavatara. Oh, glory, 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 Lord, oh, glory unto thee, who with thy holy name bless all three worlds and set them free. Oh, glory, glory, glory unto thee, O Krishna Dev, whose nectar floods our ears and eyes and hearts in endless waves. Now, actually, just a note on these little poems. You may not realize it, but I had to add a few things, you know, to make it all come out even. And hopefully I didn't add anything unbonafide. It seemed to be. But it's not exactly equivalent to the Sanskrit, but it's basically that Sanskrit with a few little things in the same mood. So that's just to let you know.
Close enough.
Huh?
In other words,
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay. And if you want the poetry, just write to me. You got to remember the name, Dravida 108. Everyone knows it's Gmail. Everyone's on Gmail. And I'll send you my poetry file. Okay. All right, we better adjourn because the curtains will open. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. We'll resume tomorrow. And of course, Wednesday, a very special day, 5:30, Radhashtami. Don't miss that. Okay. Now, which one did we finish? We did. The one about the husband forgiving the wife. All right, so we're on 45 for tomorrow. And a shout out to those who were online. We don't hear you or see you, but we know you're there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your amazing class, Prabhu. You're amazing.
Oh, Papas, you're there.